Does anyone else just smell your books? They just smell so good. Hey friends, if we haven't met before, my name is Kendall. I'm here today on our small farm in North Texas. I live here with my family and we have about a half an acre garden and livestock like goats for dairy, chickens, and various other creatures. So I'm here to share with you a few books today from my collection of homesteading and farming related books, some that I really find useful. And it's a beautiful rainy day, and what better thing to do on a rainy day than sit and flip through some books. A lot of these are reference books for how to utilize things that are coming out of your garden. What I look for in a good book is solid information that's reliable and tested, and also inspiration. So these books fit both of those categories for me. So let's jump right in. The first books that I want to share with you, this is sort of the expanded version, and this is a pocket guide, but these are medicinal herb books by Rosemary Gladstar. Any books by Rosemary Gladstar are going to be information that's really solid. She is an incredible resource. So in this beginner's guide, there are alphabetized list of various herbs and flowers and their medicinal purposes. You can just flip to whichever one you'd like, and it's got all sorts of information and recipes for using them. It also walks you through how to stock a home apothecary, so your very own kitchen pharmacy, to help keep you well at home. And it walks you through how to make tinctures, oils, salves, different teas, syrups, and all sorts of really good things to have around in your home. This book is I found it has the same information. It's just a little bit more succinct. It doesn't have as many recipes and all of the beautiful photographs that the other one does, but this Herbs for Common Ailments is a really good reference guide as well. Also alphabetized with the same information, just a little bit more brief. I love these books for growing my medicinal herb garden over the past few years. And in fact, the other day I got a little cut on my face, a little farm injury, and I was able to stop it from bleeding. It kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, but I was able to stop it from bleeding because I remembered something that Rosemary Gladstar had taught me. So, great resources to have around. The second book I want to share with you is another book about utilizing things that come from your garden, and it's preserving. So canning essentials. This is one that I found on sale at Tractor Supply for pretty cheap, but they still sell it on Amazon. It's a really good basic beginner's guide to canning. It has lots of recipes, and what I like about this one for beginner canners is that it's on the conservative side as far as guidelines go for water bath canning and pressure canning and pH. So any recipe or process that you use from this book is going to be very safe and well tested, that you can trust in. So I really like this one. The next book I want to show you is called Freeze Fresh. I'm really excited about this one this year. I just purchased this one within the past month or so, but I love it because I'm guilty of having a freezer full of frozen produce from the garden that I I forget about, or I don't get excited about using because I don't know what to do with it. I also sometimes freeze things and I don't freeze them well, so I have some learning to do in that area. And I'm also guilty of bringing in a whole bunch of produce at once And getting through, I can process quite a bit of it, but I get fatigued at some point, and this is just another way to preserve things other than canning and dehydrating. So in this book, what's really nice about it is there are some recipes for freezing, some recipes that you put together prior to freezing, and there are recipes that you can pull items from the freezer and put them on the table, which is really nice. Just great ideas, beautiful pictures, but also just some really good ideas that I can't wait to try this year. This book actually taught me that you can freeze pickles. Who knew? I didn't. So another really good one to have around. This next book it's a mammoth. Y'all, it's real heavy. It's packed full of information. I love, love, love this book. It's by John Seymour. He originally wrote all of the information in this book back in 1976. So that's almost 50 years ago now. There are several editions of it out, but it's almost an encyclopedia of everything you could possibly think of to make yourself more self-sufficient or self-reliant. I love how Jess recently has been kind of reframing self-sufficiency and addressing it more as considering it within the framework of community and what that looks like and the way that we can be resilient and rely upon each other for different skills. And so I really love this book though, because it's got all sorts of really great topics that otherwise you wouldn't really see in just any reference book. I kind of want to run through the contents for you so that you can get a feel for what's in here. So the first chapter is on the meaning of self-sufficiency. It talks a lot about humans and the environment, the cycles of the environment and how it produces things for us, and our role in it as well. It talks about the urban and community gardens and how they can differ. It gives a good layout for a 1-acre farm or a 5-acre farm. There is a huge chapter that has food from the garden. It has a beautiful index of illustrations of various veggies and fruits and herbs, different things that you could be growing, and of course how to grow all of those things as well, which is really crucial. Gardening is a huge part of self-sufficiency. It's got a whole chapter about food from animals, so raising livestock for meat. You've got everything from cows to pigs to sheep, poultry, rabbits, and even keeping bees for honey. There's a chapter which I really like that's about food from the fields. So in this chapter it talks a lot about growing grains on a larger scale, and what I really appreciate about that and what I'm hoping for is learning to close the loop on what we provide and feed to our animals. Right now, our livestock, we're pretty dependent upon the feed store. So if the feed store were to not be able to provide us feed, we'd have to find another source. We wouldn't be able to just provide that and grow that here on our farm. So I really love kind of looking forward into that. There's a chapter about food from the wild, which is foraging and using wild game. There is a chapter all about dairy and how to utilize that. There's a really big fat chapter that is called In the Kitchen, and it has lots of great recipes, but also just basics about canning and preserving and making bread, which is really cool. There's a whole chapter about energy and waste, different systems you can put in place to generate your own electricity, utilizing water, managing waste, and also using waste to create fuel. So that's pretty cool. And then the last chapter is probably my favorite. It has some sort of old world crafts and skills in it, some forgotten things, the things of humans long ago that they were able to do, and a lot of the trades have been forgotten. So it's got how to fix a broken handle on your tools. I mean, really practical things for use around here. Building and construction, you've got to be able to build things frugally and build things well if you're trying to be resourceful and resilient. It's got plumbing, but then it has things like knots and rope work. Like, how cool is that? And weaving baskets, various patterns for basket making. Pottery, so creating functional items out of clay. Spinning wool and cotton. Curing and tanning. Making bricks and tiles. Stonework. Metalwork. Building and thatching. And even how to use a scythe. Pretty cool stuff. So a really great, a big heavy book, but a really great resource as far as just an overview of lots of different things, lots of different skill sets you could look into when it comes to being more self-reliant. Okay, the last book I have for you is not a reference book or an informational book at all. It is more of an inspiration category book, but I feel like it's just as necessary to have inspiration as a human as it is to have information. So we can go through the process of learning and developing all of these skills and honing these different crafts, but why are we doing it? What is our purpose? What's our why? And I think fueling that why and that purpose is really important to sustain us. We talk a lot about, sustaining our systems and sustaining our way of life, but what about us as people, So Wendell Berry is an author who is also a farmer. He has farmed and lived a quiet life in Kentucky for over 50 years of his life. He has written poetry, essays. He actually has an essay about that he wrote decades ago, vowing that he would never own a computer, which I think is pretty admirable. He actually still does not own a computer. He just lives a very quiet life, connected to nature, fellowshipping with the people around him, and just being authentically human and relating to creation, which is, I think, really, really cool. So in the busy life that I know I live, and with kids and work, and then trying to do all the things, literally all the things, it's so nice to just kind of stop for a minute and pause, step back, and have a quiet moment with some beautiful words. And his poetry is so rich with just color and depth and such a solace, and such a sweet place to visit. So I just love to have little moments in this book. I found that the short little poetry that he has is very thought-provoking. It's very reflective, helps me to be pensive and kind of stop to remember why it is that I want to grow things, and why I want to connect with creation and steward what we have well, and just the gratitude that it evokes, and just kind of perpetuates in me is really, really sweet. And so I encourage you to find some sort of solace, something that you can look to other than just information, because information's great, but inspiration is worth it as well. Okay, so that's all my books that I wanted to share with you. Really quickly, I want to tell you because these are all currently available on Amazon, what the current price is for them as of October 2023, just so that you know. Let's see, this particular collection of poems I think is $19 or so on Amazon right now. He's got lots of different collections you can look for. On Amazon, The Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It by John Seymour. This one is, I think, on sale for about $20. That's pretty significant because it's such a big, hefty book. The Freeze Fresh is currently $11.99 on Amazon. Canning Essentials was $13.99. And the Medicinal Herbs, this one was $11.49. And the smaller kind of pocket guide was $6.39 right now. So just to make you aware. So those are all the books that I wanted to share with you. I hope that you enjoyed flipping through them with me. And I hope that you'll find some of them useful. And please, there are so many more books out there that are really great sources of inspiration and information. If you will share those with me, I would be so grateful. But thanks for watching and being here today. So I wish you joy on your journey, and I'll see you next time.